Bumblebee. You're such a cutie patootie. Yes, you're such a little cutie patootie. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to TìandTarot, or welcome back to TìandTarot if you've been here before. So apologies just straight away for my voice. I am currently a little bit sick, but listen, you're just gonna have to deal with it, okay? Because I have to post for you, so you're welcome, okay? So enjoy the horrible sound of my voice right now. And also Kit's here, as she keeps coming into frame. She wants to visit you, you know. She's such a cutie. So today's reading is all about what's next in love for you. So we've got 3 piles for you to choose from today. We have pile 1, 2 and 3. I've zoomed in so you can see the cards in a bit more detail without me like picking them up and stuff. So for pile 1 we've got the 8 of Cups, and we also have the Carnelian crystal, which I hope you can see. The lighting in here is not the best. And for pile 2 we have the Ace of Wands in reverse with the Turquenite. So that's this one here. Very cute. By the way, none of these crystals are mine. And for pile 3 we have the 7 of Cups with the Calligraphy Jasper. So, oh, Mickey sneezed. That's, you know, my sister's kitty cat. She's sneezing over there. The colds are going round. Okay. There are also several other ways you can pick your pile. So you can pick it based on the energy of the pile, you know, which one you're feeling intuitively drawn to. You can pick based on the number of the pile, or based on the numbers in the timestamps in the description box below, or based on the zodiac signs in the same place. But once you have picked your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below for you to find your reading more easily, and I will meet you there. Bye! Okay, hello my pile ones, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Carnelian, and your first card is the 8 of Cups. So I'm seeing a few different things straight away for you. So I think you're getting really decisive and sort of like picky and pinickety about who it is you like, what you're into, what you'll accept, what you won't, what your boundaries are, what you're looking for. Like, I think that's such an amazing, lovely, wonderful thing, because that means that next in love you're not gonna get something you don't want, because you know what you want and you're very strong to your boundaries. You know, you don't take any bullshit. You're not gonna let anybody come in and walk all over you, or, you know, not follow the right kind of behaviors. You know, you're not gonna, if someone even shows the slightest hint of a red flag, they're gone. Like, well, not even they're gone, but you're gone. Like, you're like, I'm out. Like, you're not somebody who needs to find an excuse or find evidence to break up with someone. If it's just not feeling right, if you just get bad vibes, bad energy, you're gone. And that I'm so glad that you kind of have that mindset, because that's exactly what protects you. It's your intuition, it's your feelings, it's also, you know, what you know to be right and wrong. And if someone is, you know, behaving in a wrong or disrespectful way, you're not going to tolerate that, which means that what's next in love for you is only good things. It's only what you're looking for. So that means that when people do come in for you, you don't have to have this kind of phase of like, oh yeah, I had actually this really bad experience and this really bad one, because you're not even going to tolerate those types of people, because it's very obvious who they are once they start to kind of drop that kind of mask and show themselves. And so you don't have those bad experiences. If you have had some, you don't have them anymore, because you can identify those people and you're like, yeah, no, and you avoid them like the plague. So you only go after what you want. You only get good things. Like, the thing with the person in the 8 of Cups is they only go after what they want. And if something isn't fulfilling, if they're not providing everything they want, they don't need it. Okay, so let's get some more information for you. So we have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, literally, as I was saying, like, with the 5 of Pentacles, it can be about feeling shut out, or not having everything you need, being basically at like the lowest of lows, the lowest point in your life kind of thing, and we've got it in reverse. So it's like you're avoiding those moments where it's like you feel so low, you feel so down, you feel shut out or ignored or blocked or unsupported by your partner, because you're not dating people like that. You're not dating people that make you feel shut out. We also have the Page of Pentacles. The Strength card. Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning, the World card, that you kind of have the Ace of Swords in reverse. Sorry, I mentioned in the beginning that you kind of have like a strength to your boundaries, that you stay strong to them. And for a lot of people, to be honest, one of the main reasons people end up in bad relationships is very obviously, of course, bad people. They exist, they're trash. Please go live on your own island somewhere else. Stop bothering the good people, okay? But like, that's of course the main reason number one. But also reason number two is people have a lot of difficulty standing up for themselves and accepting good behavior, because a part of them maybe doesn't feel like they deserve it, but also they just have a hard time being like, I am worth more than this kind of treatment. So often you'll see people, maybe even in your own friendship groups, friend life, sort of coming to you and saying these horrendous things that their partner has done, and then it's like, okay, cool, so when are you breaking up? And they're like, so I stayed with them for 6 more months. And it's like, okay, like that was the point, that you should have walked away because you were blatantly disrespected, blatantly mistreated kind of thing. But with you, that's not the case with the Strength card here, and definitely with the Eight of Cups as well, the Five of Pentacles. You're walking away from what doesn't work for you, and that's also the energy I'm getting with the Ace of Swords, where that might have been, you know, the start of something, the spark of an idea. It's in reverse. So no matter how far along you are into a connection with someone, into a relationship with someone, it doesn't matter. Like, the second you start to see the hint of a red flag, a little bit of a red flag, you're like, no. And don't get me wrong, like, sometimes a little bit of red flags are good, and by that I just mean if someone is like squeaky clean, pristine, it's probably that they are hiding something massive. That's just my personal take, by the way, so feel free to ignore me. So like a little red flag here and there is like fine, so long as they're not like big deal breaker red flags for you. So for example, if like bitch, not me trying to justify what red flags are good, but I'm literally sitting here racking my brain like, what? What I'm also seeing with the World card, with completion, for some of you, this kind of strength might result in you maybe not dating, like going forward now and not having experiences with people, or dating but having it not really work out to like for you to kind of look at them and go, yeah, that's the person I want to be with forever. But with the Strength card, that is a future that you acknowledge could come true, and you are fine with that. Like, you're not gonna rush into a relationship just to make sure you get, I don't know, like partnered up before, you know, before it's like too late or whatever, so that you have someone to spend the rest of your life with. If that person makes you miserable, you're not the type of person to be in a relationship just for the sake of it. You want that person to be special to you, and so for that reason, you're happy with the outcome being just you with your pets at home, you know, because don't tempt me with a good time. You mean I could be at home, living my best life, enjoying my hobbies, with my pets around, not having my peace disturbed? Okay, great, I'm there, you know. So I can see that for some of you, that the outcome in love might actually just be this massive self-acceptance and inner strength, where you're open to it, so long as the person coming in fits into your life and is someone you're happy to be around, who also is happy to be around you, kind of thing. But if that doesn't happen, you're also super mellow, super chill about that. Like, I feel like you're open to it, but you're also completely content with the potential outcome of not dating at the same time. So what is next for you then? So we've got Judgment in reverse. We've got the Hierophant in reverse. Interesting. We have the Four of Swords. We have the Knight of Swords. We have the Five of Wands in reverse. We've got the Four of Cups as well. Just also getting some oracle cards. We've got the Enchanter, Deception and Trickery. We have the Muse in reverse with Generosity and Naivety. And we have the Alchemist in reverse with Balance, Invention and Distraction. I don't think you're feeling fulfilled in love. I don't think it's intriguing you. That doesn't mean that sparks won't come up and things won't happen, because I am definitely seeing things coming up. Even if you're kind of not very interested right now, or as I said, you're kind of like, it will or it won't, don't really care. Even if you have that attitude, of course, people still want you. It's one of those things, it's like when you're living your best life or when you're not interested and not looking, like all of a sudden people are everywhere wanting to date you, and it's like, great, okay, you couldn't have been here when I actually wanted to date. No. I think there was this poem that I read when I was younger, I don't remember it fully, and I don't remember who it was by, sorry, but it was like, relationships are like buses. When you want one, it never turns up, and when you don't want one, or the one you don't want, turns up like 3 at the same time or something. It was something like that, but that's kind of the same thing here. Is like, the second you're like, I'm not really interested, I don't really care, this doesn't really intrigue me anymore, all of a sudden people start coming in. Okay, they're like enamored by you and they're intrigued. But as I said, if they've got any bad intentions, if they're sort of coming in to use you in some kind of way, or if they're not being true about the outcome they're looking for with the connection, you'll be able to see that straight away. You're very chill and mellow about it. If you're not feeling fulfilled, you have no problem walking away, and you've got a really good eye on the situation. With Judgment in reverse, it's like you're seeing things very neutrally, very diplomatically, like you can see things clearly. Your judgment isn't clouded by infatuation or your crush or fancy on anybody. You sort of remove that cloud from your vision when you look at people, so that you can see who they are very clearly. You can see them for who they are, and you don't have a problem going against the order, the tradition, the status quo of like, oh, but you have to date and find your person and get married and have babies and settle down and blah blah blah. Like, it's not for you, and that's absolutely okay. Like, if that's not your vibe, that's not your vibe. But because of that, that's almost set you free in a sense, because now when you go into connections with people, when you look at connections, you can see very clearly, okay, you can now evaluate, do you want to be with them? Is there someone you want in your life? It's not just a, well, I need to find the best possible one I can find, even if that's like bare minimum, and settle there. No, you're not doing that. Yeah, exactly. You got the Wise One, Tradition and Order in reverse with the Hierophant in reverse. It's so true. It's like you're going against this order, this tradition. You're seeing things for what they are. You don't need to follow some sort of pattern in your life to be complete or feel complete in life. You will only be with someone that makes you feel good. You don't want situations that will lead to heartache, so you're really good at identifying those people who are gonna sort of trick and deceive you and give you anxiety and, you know, sleepless nights and heartache. And you can see it very clearly and say, yep, no, don't want that. You have no problem walking away from things, even if other people are sort of like, oh my god, are you crazy? On paper, this person is great. You don't care. It's about how you feel. Like, for example, like, it could be that all your friends find this person really attractive and they happen to be interested in you, and you're just not interested. And they're so confused because they're like, what the fuck do you mean you're not interested? I would jump at the chance to be with this person. And you're like, great, that's you though. That's not me. And you can see some red flags in that person that you're just not interested in. You just don't want to get to know them. And that's completely okay and acceptable. But to others, it might seem crazy. So I think you might get a lot of judgment for this kind of approach that you have, but you don't care, because that makes you feel good. That's what brings success and happiness and joy into your life, is putting yourself first, being strong, walking away from what doesn't match you, but being open to, you know, potential connections where you think, this does seem like a good opportunity. Like, the door is open, but it's very firmly shut on people that are not going to bring you anything good in your life. Like, the door is open a crack, you know, but it's not open wide where anybody can come in. You're kind of like, what's the password? Okay. And you've got security bolts ready to lock that door up if you need to. So next in love might not be what you want to hear, or it might, I don't know, but next in love, it's definitely you being strong to your boundaries, being really pernickety and selective, and for that reason, there's not going to be a lot of opportunities coming up, there's not going to be a lot of relationships, but the ones that do come in will be so good because you've sort of shut out all these shitty ones. If you do get a good one, what will they be like? Ooh, okay. So again, we're still getting this independent energy with you. So I do see you kind of staying strong to who you are, and if that means ending up alone, that means ending up alone. But because I did ask what this person will be like, they're definitely a free spirit. They follow the beat to their own drum. Like they like you, do not follow tradition and order either. They follow their own desires and goals in life. They'll be a little bit spiritual. They're also independent as well. I think you'll pair nicely because the expectations of what the outcome of the relationship is and how you intend to enjoy each other's company will be the same. Very matched, very equal here. Very headstrong. I think if you guys get into debates, you'll never have a winner because you've got so many good opinions and good points that will make you a great team if you ever go and do trivia night and things like that. You'll definitely be the winning table because you've got great minds. Really great minds. Very intelligent, the both of you. But yeah, that is your reading, part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like, comment, subscribe, and if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, hope to see you here next week on Tuesday and Thursday for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye! Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to your reading, pile 2. So your card is the Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, so I'm definitely seeing a bit of a delay for you in love. Maybe because what I'm kind of seeing is that you don't really know where to go. Like, so it could be that either you've just realised something about your sexuality that kind of makes you start from square one again. So you're kind of at the beginning like, where do I start from here now that I know this information about me? How do I even like try or do that kind of thing? So for example, like if you have realised you're bi or a lesbian or something, you're like, okay, but I only know how to interact with women in a friendly way. How the hell do I like start to be flirty, or like how do I not befriend every woman I meet? Because like that's just your natural desire is to like immediately be friendly. So it can be like something like that, but also it can be that you just don't have anyone that you're currently crushing on at the minute, so you're kind of like, what is next? Where do I go? Do I just wait for someone to come to me? Do I download an app? Like, you're kind of like, what do you do? Because you have this desire to date, but you've got no direction to really go in. You don't have any crushes at the minute, or maybe not any like in-person real life like crushes. So you might have like celebrity crushes and things, but no one in your personal life that you know that you could maybe go and approach. Or maybe you don't even know how to date kind of thing. So that's kind of causing a delay here, because it's like, if you don't have someone in mind, you're kind of just waiting around for that moment when you have a crush or when you meet someone that you really like. So we have the Merchant, Self-Worth and Trade in reverse. Oh, there's 2 here, okay. And then we also have the Herald, Small Regrets and Longing. And we have the Aspirant, Ambition, Diligence and Setbacks. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing, because you just got setbacks as well. And this is like delays, things not happening in the way that you want them to, lack of movement. And there's longing here, small regrets. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of interest, but nowhere really to go. It could be as well, for some of you, like in the past, maybe you've kind of, almost like cock-blocked yourself a little bit, or like you've stood in your own way a little bit when it comes to love. You've kind of prevented yourself from from getting the connections that you're interested in. Maybe it's like you missed the signs and the signals people were giving you. Like maybe that someone tried to kiss you and you're just so oblivious that you're just like, yeah, so anyways, and then this happened, and you keep talking. And you look back on those moments now and you're like, oh my god, why did I do that? Why did I not seize my moment? And so because there's kind of stagnation, lack of movement now, it's almost making you regret things, look on the past, feel more longing for this kind of connection that you maybe haven't had before or haven't had a lot of experience with, or maybe you're feeling a little bit lonely right now and you definitely want to explore like connections with people. So there's definitely something here. I think the delay that we're sort of seeing is because you, in this kind of space where you've got so much longing and you're kind of a little bit self-deprecating right now with the regret, looking back on the past, being like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that kind of thing? That's impacting the way that you view yourself in like a loving, kind way. Instead, you're kind of judging yourself a little bit and being quite harsh, and that is not a good state of being to enter a relationship into. So it's almost like this is a divine delay, especially with the merchant there, because at the minute, if you were to enter a relationship with your self-esteem here, that immediately puts this person that you enter the connection with above you. And so if they mistreat you, if they show any red flags, you will put up with them because you don't think you deserve them, because you see yourself down here rather than as an equal. So the delay is kind of holding you in place until you improve your self-worth to about here, until you guys are equal again. Now, some people, they find that when they go into a relationship, it equals out once they're at that point, because they almost realise by being loved by someone else their own worth. Sometimes that happens if you're in a relationship with a great person, but if you're in a relationship with a bad person or someone who wants to use you or anything like that, that is not a good combo. So that's why there's kind of a delay. It's almost like the universe is like, you need to big yourself up a little bit so that you can then start exploring the things you're interested in. You're definitely at this like beginner phase as well. There's sort of like a new phase to kind of improving your self-worth, which is why there needs to be more growth there. There needs to be more development. There's this very different pile 1 who has all that kind of inner strength and wisdom. You need to channel a bit of pile 1's energy. Maybe head over there to get some inspo, but that's kind of what you need. And once you actually get that, once you get that equality, that balance, once you start respecting yourself a little bit more, you then get this opportunity, this door unlocked, this chance to now start dating in a really healthy, positive way. Because of course you could start dating now, but it would just end badly because of that imbalance. So it's really key that you kind of uplift yourself first before stepping out there, and you need to make that decision for you. You can't just sort of, see these delays and sort of think, when is it my time? This is the universe's fault kind of thing. You have to embrace the opportunity of time that you have here to kind of improve yourself a little bit. So yeah, there's definitely something there about that. Also, I pulled you some tarot cards while I was chit-chatting, and you've got the Queen of Cups in reverse. We have the Page of Cups as well, also in reverse. The Nine of Swords, the Hermit in reverse, the High Priestess in reverse, the Seven of Swords in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles, Justice, and the Queen of Swords. Well, did you get all the queens? Wait, no, but you got 3 queens. And maybe the ultimate queen of them all, the High Priestess. So I'm definitely seeing something coming to light. So I do see a connection for you on the horizon, especially if you can see in the Ace of Wands, there's a sun creeping around in the back. So yeah, there's a delay, but once you move past this period of that delay, there is a connection waiting for you. There is a connection brewing that wants to come to the surface, a secret admirer maybe that wants to come out. There is definitely another person appearing for you. With all of these doubles that we're seeing, there's definitely someone waiting for you. There is a new connection on the horizon, but building up your self-esteem will help you get to this person quicker. But of course, that's a work in progress. So that's where the delay is. But once you're past the delay, there's the connection. Because the thing is, this connection that's on the horizon is a really, really good one. Very successful, happy, celebratory. It's one that really people envy. This is a really good connection. But if you meet them before you're at this stage of sort of like, self-love, self-respect, being caring for yourself, then you have the chance to kind of fumble the bag if you don't kind of improve in that area. Because what will happen is you'll be quite codependent on them. You'll kind of place your self-worth on everything they think and feel about you. You could get a little bit obsessive with that. And then maybe for that reason kind of destroy this connection. So improving your kind of self-esteem will definitely help in terms of the longevity with this really good connection that's around the corner. I definitely think you're new to love. We're just getting that a lot in a lot of these cards, or that you're quite inexperienced in some kind of way when it comes to love, which is why we're getting the kind of the self-doubt, the sort of self-deprecating ideas, the regrets, the longing, sort of putting people on a pedestal. I do think once you kind of enter this relationship, it will definitely help in that area where you'll realise, oh, you know what, they're just a normal person too, like me, and we're equal. And no one's worth more than the other one, kind of thing. But I do think next in love as well, because it's almost this new connection for you, this new start, you'll have a lot of anxieties around it. I think it will be something you're very nervous about, that you're quite anxious about almost. You overthink things. Like, it's definitely one of those kind of new love type of energies. But I think you'll settle in once you get more comfortable, especially with all the Queen's energies coming up. You get to a point where you get more confident and assured and knowing your worth and knowing where you stand. And what I'm seeing in this connection that's around the corner, once you move past this delay phase, what I'm seeing is that this person, they're quite nurturing, very sweet, very kind, very caring. They don't judge books by their covers. Like, they're not focused on looks or anything like that. They see beauty within. They're very attracted to your personality, your vibe, your style, your confidence. They like everything that you exude. And I also think this person, they might want to be the person who provides financially for you. I think the way they show love is definitely through providing in a financial way, and also through like giving gifts and things. So that's the type of person they are. But they are very nurturing as well, very caring, very kind. Like, if you're ill, they'll make you a bowl of soup. Like, they're very sweet. They really value direct communication. They like it if you just tell them straight up what a problem is. I think with you, if you're quite insecure or sort of valuing them above yourself, you might have a tendency to sort of say things like, no, I'm fine, it's okay, when actually something is wrong and it's not okay, kind of thing. Or if they apologise for something, you'll be like, yeah, that's fine, when actually the more appropriate response is, thank you for apologising, I'm glad we can talk about this, let's discuss, kind of thing. And it opens up that door for you to then explain why it hurt, why you won't tolerate that again, kind of thing. So I think for them, it's really key to have conversations like that. So if you kind of almost shut them off by trying to make sure they feel better about how maybe they might have disrespected you, rather than trying to make sure that you feel better after being disrespected, kind of thing, that can actually also sabotage the connection, because they don't appreciate that either. They don't value that. It doesn't do you any justice, it doesn't do them any justice with the Justice card here. So they definitely want that balance. They don't like sort of this imbalance created by poor communication that could be stemming from insecurity or people pleasing, or wanting to kind of make them feel better or feel, good, even if they've done something wrong. They'd rather prefer honesty. So that's why that kind of delay period is really important, because if you can find a way to be more confident and prioritize yourself equally to them, and kind of recognize when, if someone's done something wrong, you can actually stand up for yourself, or at least have those kind of discussions, that will help that connection so much more, rather than if you never did any of that inner work before the connection, and then when you got there you were just kind of like, how can I make them feel really great constantly without sort of thinking about myself, kind of thing. And it would also add to this kind of anxious feeling, rather than getting like settled in. If you still had those kind of insecure, low self-esteem issues, rather than feeling settled in the deeper you go into the connection, instead it would be like the deeper you go, the more anxious you get, because you're feeling them pull away because of this low self-esteem, and so you're almost doing it more, which is making it worse, and then it's like spiraling, and then you feel like you're losing a really good connection. So it's definitely a wild ride for you in terms of what's next in love. You've got to do all this inner work and have this delay period where you're boosting your confidence before you can get this really lovely person, a really good connection. And the success is completely dependent on whether or not you put yourself as an equal against them, or whether you see yourself as lesser than. But yeah, that is what I'm seeing for you, pile 2. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye! Okay, hello my pile 3s, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Calligraphy Jasper and the 7 of Cups as well. So I think at the minute you might have someone on your mind who you're maybe asking about for this reading in particular, and we can definitely try and narrow in on that and see more pointedly about this person. But first we'll kind of see where the cards take us, because the ultimate question is what's next in love for you. But you might have someone in mind already that maybe you want to ask out, maybe you're hoping they'll ask you out. Okay, so we have the 2 of Pentacles, which is interesting because that's, you know, pairings, so we are getting that. And anxiety. It could be that you're worried about how a relationship could fit into your very busy life, and maybe that makes you quite anxious. Or maybe it's not even just that your life is busy, but it could be that you don't feel like your life is stable or fit or worthy enough for a relationship at the minute. So for example, like if you're feeling insecure about your living situation, financial situation, all things that play a part in your relationships, you might be really hyper fixated on how could I possibly have a connection right now, when this is kind of the situation that I'm in. So it could be something like that. So I think you tend to go inward for that, to kind of feel fulfilled in love. You maybe fantasize about what's the word I'm looking for? It's not unreachable. You fantasize about people essentially that you know you cannot have, or that there's no sort of realistic way that you'd possibly meet. Maybe you've never met this person, and maybe you live in like completely different countries or something, but you tend to fantasize about people that are unattainable because you know it will never come true, so it almost feels like a safe space for you. That's what I'm seeing, just with all of these kind of illusions, the mind going inward kind of imageries that we're seeing. I'm seeing you kind of almost being avoidant, where like you almost want it but you don't. Oh my god, you got the Lovers. You're the first pile to get the Lovers. Okay, so while I've been pulling more cards, you got the 9 of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, the Queen of Wands and the Tower and the Moon in reverse, the 8 of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Wands in reverse, the Lovers in reverse, the World card and the 6 of Pentacles. By kind of staying in your head and avoiding real life connections, real life situations, you're limiting your potential in love, like of course, because you're focusing your energy and attention on that, which then of course means you're not really available in the real world. You're not really present to seize opportunities, feel confident, recognise that you can have connections with people. And because of this almost anxious attachment style that we're getting as well, it's almost like anxious and avoidant attachment style. It's almost like even if you do get connections in real life where like you're starting to pick up on, hey, this person's flirting with me, or hey, this person's, you know, doing this, doing that, you wouldn't go for it. It would make you too nervous. You'd be like, nope, I'm not doing this. Like, and you would just avoid them like the plague. So it's interesting because I'm getting this vibe that you do want love, but you're also very intimidated by the idea of it as well, which is kind of course, blocking those opportunities a little bit. In a sense, I think you do this because it helps you to avert chaos, avert disaster. You know, you see on social media and in your friend groups and family and things like that, just how chaotic and disastrous relationships can be. And so in a way, you kind of being stuck in your mind is helping you to avoid those like tower shattering, earth shattering moments that you look at and you go, yeah, nah, I don't want that. Like, you know, it's always like on Reddit, it will be like, oh yeah, it was the night of my wedding, and actually they slept with my mum or like my dad or whatever, and it's like, what? It's always something crazy. And so I feel like you're seeing things like this and you're like, yeah, you know what, that's not for me. But you still have this strong desire for it, but not in that way. Like, you're like, I want a relationship, but one that doesn't turn out like that. And so in a sense, that's where that avoidant, you know, anxious attachment style is kind of coming from. But that kind of means everything you create in your mind is just an illusion that's distracting you from the reality, from what's around you, from real life opportunities. Because it's almost safer there. That's almost the energy I'm getting. So what I'm seeing next is definitely a release of this fear that you have when it comes to real life connections. And I think that that's coming in, that release of that fear is coming in because of a change of heart or a change in your mindset of things. So you're deciding to kind of break free from that because you want to, in a sense, you want to be your own kind of person, and in a way you kind of creating these fantasies or illusions or unattainable crushes in your mind is almost trapping you in a sense, because it's almost like you're not living in reality, but then also you're kind of chained to this sort of illusion or escapism that makes you feel fulfilled in a sort of false way. So you're recognizing that actually that's not freedom, that's just another version of you being stuck. And so you want to kind of be this free spirit and let that go. So you're definitely releasing fear, anxiety, all those sort of nasty feelings that kind of hold you back from what it is you want. And especially if you have a lot of judgment for yourself when it comes to as I sort of said in the beginning, maybe judging your living situation or financial situation, you're recognizing that, yeah, of course it's important to be stable just in general, but also in a relationship it's important to be financially, emotionally, you know, physically stable, that sort of thing. But at the same time, it's like you can't let those things necessarily hold you back, and this is your mindset shift, because it's like if everyone waited until they, you know, had the dream job, dream house, perfect body, perfect life, blah blah blah, to wait for their person, then you've just wasted time where you could have been getting to know them, spending time with them, you know. And you miss out on finding someone who will accept you for you, who has seen you as the true version of yourself that you are, rather than someone who's being with you because you have all of those dream things. Do you know what I mean? So you're recognizing to let go of that. Yeah, you still got the ambition to kind of improve those areas of your life, but you know, if you find a connection along the way, why can't you? You know, you're not going to let that fear or that anxiety stop you from being accepting of good connections that come your way. You're taking all that energy that you were putting into being anxious, being avoidant, into actually improving your mindset around yourself, your self-worth and relationships, and recognizing you don't have to have like the perfect body to be in a relationship or the perfect life or whatever. You're being kinder to yourself and letting yourself free of those sort of negative, toxic ideas, and that's what you're putting your energy into. And that is what's going to bring in definitely a new connection for you. That kind of self-love and rebuilding that harmony within yourself is exactly what will bring in future connections. You will definitely resolve these, by the way, that if you're worried that, like, you know, maybe you're always going to think this way about yourself or be very anxious and whatnot. That's not true. With the World card, you're definitely going to get to that complete stage where you have built yourself whole again, where you have set yourself free and you're in a really good place in life, especially in terms of the way you think about yourself and sort of talk to yourself and think about love. And you're seeing it completely differently now, which is exactly what will allow people to come in for you. I also wanted to pull some oracle cards for you, which I haven't done yet. Oh, okay, they came out reverse, but they were like spinning, so I don't know. We'll go with reverse. But we have the Sleeper, Cause and Effect, Clarity in reverse. We have the Priest in reverse with Perseverance and Faith. And we also have the Champion, Achievement and Downfall. Interesting, okay. So yeah, I definitely think you're coming out of this illusion, this mindset, and it could be, as I said, all of those things sort of together. So it can be the fact that you stay in your mind to enjoy or indulge in relationships and fantasies, but also it could be as well the kind of the ways that you kind of train yourself to avoid connections with others. So for example, telling yourself you don't have the perfect body yet, the perfect life, the perfect job, the finances, blah blah blah. All of these things are things you tell yourself to hold yourself back, really. And to keep staying avoidant, to keep staying anxious, to stay away from the thing that you're actually wanting, but maybe you're just a bit afraid of. You're definitely pulling yourself out of that and waking up. So that's definitely what's next in love for you, because these things are all important to kind of work on, and they are related to your love life, of course. So even if we're not seeing a connection in the cards right now, that doesn't mean you won't in another reading later on. So long as you've done this work. I think you're kind of sick of sort of telling yourself, so for example, you're kind of sick of telling yourself that it will happen when it will happen, but then actively doing things to prevent it from happening. So you're addressing those real barriers that you kind of set in place for yourself so that it can happen when it happens, kind of thing. Like, you're sick of kind of having faith in it when you know you are actively doing things that prevent you from having a connection with someone. So for example, actively avoiding crushes, connections, people fancying you because you think you're not ready yet in some capacity, and it will usually be some sort of like self-deprecating idea as to why you're not ready. You're sick of kind of saying it will happen when it happens, when actually you're sabotaging a lot of the situations. So I think you're waking up to that and addressing that. And with that, of course, comes a challenge, because it's almost like that's not going to be necessarily easy, because it's a habit you've almost built up where you've done this time and time again, where you've kind of learned and taught yourself to kind of avoid these situations. So actually coming out of that shell and rebuilding that and recognizing, okay, like, this person likes me, let's do something about that, rather than kind of walking away. In the moment, that's going to be really hard for you to do. So there's going to be a lot of achievement and a lot of downfall, because there will be moments where you're able to pull yourself out of it and break that habit, break that cycle. But then there are also moments where you go back into the habit and you're like, no, not today. Like, you know. So I can see that for you. But ultimately, that is your success, because it means you're acknowledging those things about yourself, that anxiety, and you're working through it, and you're starting to live in your reality again. So this is very successful for you in love. And who you do end up with because of this, your next connection, because there is one on the horizon. We've had the Lovers, we know it's coming in. We've also got the Knight of Cups here. So definitely someone is coming in love for you, so long as you're open to it and ready to accept them. But I think that this will be a very stable person, a very comforting person to be around, very strong, very reliable, and they come in very quickly for you and they're very interested in you straight away, kind of thing. They could even be a bit of a secret admirer as well. So that is what I'm seeing for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye!